Hello and welcome to Mindful Mondays, where we try to start out our week mindfully by focusing on our relationship with God. Today we are talking about the relationship between prayer and the position of your body. What do you think? Does the position of your body have any effect on your prayers? When I was growing up, I only really knew about praying one way, sitting with my eyes closed and my head down and my hands folded. That was how we prayed in church, and it was how we prayed at meals. Actually, I guess there were two positions for praying because also we said a bedtime prayer, and in our house we did that when we were already tucked into bed. So you were lying down in bed and you said your "Now I lay me down to sleep" prayer while lying down. It was only later, pretty well into my adulthood, that I really noticed hearing about other positions for prayer. Some people's bedtimes, and you've probably heard this, or maybe this is what you do, are traditionally done on their knees beside their bed. They pray with your elbows on the bed, on your knees, praying that way. If you worship at a church that has a kneeling rail, or has at the altar, or has kneeling rails even in the pews, then maybe you're familiar with praying on your knees that way. There are also multiple examples in the Bible of people praying in a prostrate position, which means lying flat face down. And the Bible also talks about lifting holy hands in prayer, and there are some pretty neat memes out there and some little comedy sketches about what the various hands positions mean, what the names of them are. You can get some pretty good laughs out of those, but still, there for sure is a biblical precedent for praying with your hands lifted. And then there are some great examples in the Bible of worshipful prayer that was expressed through dance. So I'm thinking here about Miriam dancing at the Red Sea. I'm thinking about David, who danced with such great passion that he actually exposed himself. And then there's that great story in 2nd Chronicles about Jehoshaphat. That's one of my favorite Bible names. Jehoshaphat, who sent a team out ahead of the warriors to just pray and worship and praise God. And the reason he did that is that's the strategy that God gave him for winning the battle. So that's another position of prayer, dance. On one hand, I would say I don't think there's like a correct position to pray or an incorrect position to pray. I don't think God prescribes for us specific positions that we are to take to pray for specific things. But on the other hand, for myself, I have experienced that the position of my body definitely influences the position of my heart when I pray. For instance, when I pray standing with my hands lifted high and my head back, my heart is in a totally different place than when I pray down on my knees, leaned over with my head on the floor, like in a position you might think of when you think of Muslim prayers. Christians can pray in that position too, by the way. My heart does one thing when I pray laying flat down on my face in that prostrate position, and another when I pray pacing. That is one of my favorite ways to pray, pacing. Also, my heart responds differently when I pray silently than when I pray aloud, and then differently still when I pray very loudly, maybe even yelling. Personally, my favorite places to pray yelling prayers would be in the shower and in my car. That's the two places I like to yell if I'm going to have a yelling conversation with God. And then my heart is in a totally other position when I pray while dancing. And yeah, I have done that. My most memorable dancing prayer is this. It was an assignment that was given to me on the day that I was diagnosed with cancer. My friend who was all about prayer, she told me, when you get up tomorrow morning, I want you to turn on your worship music. I want you to lift your hands. I want you to dance. I want you to pray, thanking God and praising God. And I tell you what, I thought that was pretty unreasonable counsel. I thought it was pretty dumb. But it really was some of the very best advice I've ever followed. The position of my body for sure affected the position of my heart when I chose to go ahead and dance my prayers and thank and pray that morning after I was diagnosed with cancer. If you have never considered what different things your heart might do if you prayed with your body in a different position, I am here today to challenge you. I am not saying, you need to go try this out in your crowd at church. You need to do this in front of people. I'm not against that, but most people are pretty self-conscious about praying differently than usual when they're around people. And really, our prayer is a business between ourselves and the Lord, and it's not really a piece of performance art for those around us. So if trying a different position feels like a performance, just don't do it in front of people. Find a private place and give it a try. And I am just challenging you, find that private place where you can be totally unself-conscious, and then try out some different positions while you pray. Pray on your knees, if your knees can take that. Pray sitting in a lotus position. Pray while dancing. Come on, you want to try it. Yell at God in the car. Pace and pray. Try some different positions out. It doesn't take too much experimenting with these things to quickly figure out which positions might help the most when you are afraid, what might help the most when you're angry, when you're celebrating, when you need comfort, when you are weary. There are positions that help more for each of these. See, that's the real point when it comes to different positions for prayer. It's not really about God expecting or requiring different positions or certain positions. What it is it's about helping to direct our focus, helping to aim our thoughts, and helping to position our hearts. It is for us. It is not for God, but it can be a great way to grow in intimacy with God. So give it a try. I would love to hear from you about what you learn. Now, if you're seeing this on YouTube, I've got the comments shut off, and I won't apologize for that. The people on YouTube don't know how to play nicely in the comments section. But if you're seeing this on Facebook, I do hope that you'll take a minute to talk to me about what you have tried and how that has worked for you, what the different positions mean to you, and how they help you to pray with a different heart attitude. I am so curious and excited to hear about this based on my own journey on this. But even if you don't comment, just go and have a great week. I encourage you to be mindful, to look for ways that you can open your heart to God, maybe even by changing the position of your body. Consider it, try it out, and I will see you next time. Have a blessed week.